Meet Jordan. Jordan has been dealing with some chronic back pain, neck and shoulder pain, and this is her very first session with me. I wanted to show you guys what it's like to do a session with me one-on-one, and I also hope that if you've been dealing with neck or shoulder pain, there's going to be some great tips and tricks in here that can help you as well. Let's go ahead and learn a little more about Jordan, and then we'll get started.
All right, so when I asked you about places you've had pain, stiffness, discomfort in the last 6 months, you gave me a whole laundry list. And we can go over them one by one if we need to, but usually when I see this many, I'll just ask what sort of generally is part of your daily life? What's catching your attention that you're having to navigate right now on a regular basis?
Sitting in front of the computer screen and not either having the energy to work out or stretch, or just not putting the time mindfully in my calendar to do it and stay active with it. And I then get off work and then play video games for a couple hours, and it's still like in that position, and I'm not like stretching and being attentive to how I'm crunching.
Okay, great. So as far as building a new habit, 'cause in addition to doing our sessions together, I'm also going to be making you a training plan for things that you can do on your own. It might be like, we'll talk more about what that might look like later. It looks different for literally every single person I've ever made one for. It could be 5 minutes a day. It could be 1 hour long workout a week, whatever. We'll figure it out later. I think that sometimes there's two kinds of blocks that keep us from working out. One is a physical block. That's like fatigue, injury, don't have the physical space, whatever. Like there's something in my body or in my environment that's just like, that's not happening. Or there's a mental block, which is like a habit or maybe like past trauma associated with exercise. Rather, that's just negative experiences or an injury you had where your body's like, I don't want to move because it doesn't feel safe. And so do you have anything like that that you feel like might come up when you think about doing exercise on your own?
I think the mental block part is definitely there, because even I'll do, a very rudimentary, basic beginner workout for 15 minutes, and then I'll be sore for 3 days. And I'm like, I tried to scale it back. I don't understand why I'm sore. And so those kind of things really set me back. And I'm like, it's no bother to even try, because I'm just going to feel crappy after doing nothing.
So yeah, like even if the workout goes well, I'm going to have to suffer basically if I work out. That sucks. We can work with that. So let's go back a little bit to your sitting a lot for work, sitting for recreation, video games. And then I know you're also a reseller, so you're moving heavy stuff, which involves a lot of this bent over posture as well. So when we were talking about your sort of laundry list of things that get aches and pains, is there a particular part of your body you think that's particularly loud or consistent when it comes to that sitting, leaning over related discomfort?
My shoulders.
What happens in your shoulders?
It just gets really tight, and then it'll radiate up to my neck, and I'll get tension headaches.
Is that related to the migraines that you wrote on your form as well?
Yes.
And when you feel your shoulders wanting to start to be sore or act up, what do you do other than go like, oh crap?
I try to like take a tennis ball to them or like stretch them out, but really it's just like deep massage needs to happen. And even now, like they feel better, but they're not all the way there.
Yeah, for sure. And then, because I think it might not be unrelated, tell me a little bit about your sciatica.
Yeah, so my hip pain, I'm not entirely sure if it's sciatica, but when I walk too much or I use my hips too much, it's like they tighten up and start to like give out, and I can't walk anymore.
Show me where in your hip that happens.
Like right here.
And about how much walking would you say before your hips start to do that thing?
It depends. If I'm like going on a hike, it'll be like 2-3 miles, but just like flat ground walking after like a day at Disneyland. So
Gotcha. And do any other things pop up when you do a lot of walking as well, or is that the main thing?
Or my knees sometimes will be like hurting and like feel like they're gonna like, I don't know. It's just like they're gonna pop out, or like they're get tight.
Right above the knee, would you say?
I'm trying to remember because it hasn't happened for a long time, but it's like, yeah, like above it.
Great. I know you haven't been working out as much as you'd like to lately, but when you do a workout, what does that usually entail?
I try to do like a split of like 3 a week. One is yoga, one is cardio on my bike, and then one is like a strength.
I know you mentioned the yoga specifically on your intake form, that there's some poses that you're just like, what the heck? Tell me a little bit more about that.
So I am naturally bendy. I'm like overly flexible. And I realized that I will be able to do poses, but not actually be able to feel like a stretch, or my muscles aren't activating in the correct way that I should be like getting the most out of this pose. So
do you have a certain pose that comes to mind, like an example pose where you're like, this one, it never feels the way I want it to feel?
Yeah, it's a lot of the things like happy baby or things on my back. I realize that my back is so weak, I can't like flatten it to the floor. And so I'm like constantly trying to like push my back to the floor, but I don't know how to strengthen that piece so that it doesn't lift up every time I do literally anything.
Amazing. Okay. I'm like, Mwahaha, the picture, it's coming together. What do you want to get out of our work together? What's your like best outcome? What goals do you want to meet, or what do you want your day-to-day life to look like in a different way as a result of this work?
I really like the accountability aspect of working with a personal trainer, because Lord knows I would not be out of bed right now at 8 a.m. for a workout on my day off if it were not for you. So definitely the like consistency that comes with working with someone else. But mostly like the energy levels that I have. I know that, you know, my potential when I am working out is being really strong, being really active, and being able to enjoy things like hikes and going out and, you know, exploring the world. And I'm just so tired all the time.
That sounds great. And if you were to say, just as an overall in your body, what's your chronic pain level on a day-to-day basis from 1 to 10?
Like a 6.
Like a 6. And give me the 3 places where that pops up for you the most.
Shoulders, back, and then I would say tummy, but that doesn't count, right?
That can totally count. Yeah. There's a lot. Is that for your digestion?
Yeah.
So the good news is that a lot of the work we'll do is focused in on the core. And sometimes when there's digestive stuff going on, we have to be particular about how we do this. But I've had a lot of clients who have digestive issues in the past who say that this work is really helpful for them. It pulls a lot of blood into the core, which can be really soothing to the organs as long as it's not inflammatory, which is the part we have to be careful about. But I've had a lot of clients who have digestive challenges find the movement and the blood flow actually really soothing and really helpful, especially in a long-term way. So I think that totally counts. And it's also something that we can definitely work with.
Fantastic.
All right. Are you ready to get started?
Kind of. Yes. Yes.
Are you scared? Okay. So let's go ahead and I'll have you tilt your camera down just a little bit. And that's so counterintuitive, but working this way, we want the camera to be quite far away from you. Oh, cute socks. When you're ready, you can just lie down on your back. And just lying here, Jordan, any part of your body kind of uncomfortable or talking to you?
My back.
Yeah, low back. Yeah, okay, great. And what if we bring both knees just a little bit into the chest? You can like hold the backs of your thighs, your shins. And does that feel better, worse, or the same on your back?
The same.
Okay, great. And then you can slide the legs one at a time back to straight. It's more comfortable, less comfortable, or the same as when we had the previous 2 positions.
I think more comfortable on my lower back, less comfortable on like my upper back now.
Excellent. And then go ahead and roll over onto your belly for me and rest your forehead on your hands. And same question, better, worse, the same?
Better.
Okay, lovely. So right away before we've even started, we've already come to one of the, nothing's completely universal, but this is almost completely universal, which is that this lying on your belly on a firm surface is like a hack. It's really, really, really amazing support for your spine. And so this is something that if your body consistently finds this comfortable, this is something you could do if you have a short break in the middle of your workday and you can just lie down like this. This might feel really, really nice, especially thinking about a long workday where your body is being asked to sit for a long time. Just a few short breaks like this, maybe 2-3 minutes each time, might really stave off that kind of deep, lingering ache that we get from sitting a lot for the low back. Is this continuing to feel good as we stay here?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah, go for it. So this is awesome for you. And you can have the head as it was before or turn to the side like this. If we turn the head to the side, sometimes we get a little neck stretch. And so if you turn the head to the side, I always just say, keep track of roughly how long you're there. It's not super important to be really precise, but you want to spend a relatively equal amount of time with your head turned the other way also, so that we're getting an even stretch. And you might find one side of the neck feels tighter than the other. Go ahead and turn the neck to that tighter direction one more time. We'll spend about 30 more seconds here. Today, throughout the day, you can just schedule in some little breaks like this. 2 or 3 throughout the whole day should be plenty. And you can see if that makes a difference for you. As you're ready, take your time. You're going to go ahead and roll over back onto your back to that original position. And you can notice if it feels any different from before or about the same.
It definitely feels better.
Amazing.
No, like nothing. You're magic.
And then last thing, just try gently bringing the knees into the chest and see what you think.
Wow, I'm impressed.
It feels better, yeah?
Yeah, so much better.
Good. And I'm going to say too, we were only on your stomach for about 90 seconds. So it doesn't even take that long. You can see how doing this throughout the day might just really help your muscles kind of go, oh, I can let go. So your arms will go by your side. And you're going to bring one leg up to what I call a tabletop position, where your shin is exactly parallel to the ceiling. And then you're going to go ahead and slowly put that leg back down on the floor.
Knees bent.
And you'll do the same. Yeah, you're going to keep it bent and then do the other side. Good question. Especially at the moment where you're changing the legs, your hips are going to want to rock and put more weight on one side than the other, yeah? Okay, so that is, spoiler alert, probably going to happen no matter what you do. But what I want you to do now is start to consciously engage your abdominals a bit and see how much you can minimize that little shift. So it won't go away, but it might get quieter. Yeah, you're already figuring it out. Very good. And then we're going to take the pink sock up and hold. Very good. Yes. And then firm your abs a little more. This is going to be slightly more challenging, and add the other leg to it. So now both legs are there. Heels can touch, toes can be a little bit apart. And how does holding this feel? Easy, medium, or hard?
Easy at the beginning and now hard.
Good. So we're going to do a lot of work like this where we use the legs to create leverage on the abs and make your abs work. So if you bring your knees now closer to your body, you're probably going to notice this get a little easier. Yes? Excellent. Now, if you start to bring your legs back to where they were and then they continue a little farther, it's rapidly going to get more difficult. Yeah? So whenever you're in an ab work position with me or any workouts you do on your own, if you need to make it gentler, you can always bring the knees a little farther in. And if you need to make it more challenging for yourself, you can always bring the knees a little farther out. Go ahead and hug your knees and rest for a second. Very good. Take a moment, take a breath. Your back still feeling good? Okay, good. So we're gonna do an exercise I'm quite sure you've done before. We're gonna do a bridge, but before we actually go into the bridge, we're gonna talk about muscular activation. So I feel like the traditional sort of exercise wisdom is you do an exercise to activate your muscles. And of course, there's some truth to that. But what I've found is that often we actually need to activate the muscles first for them to be effective in the exercise. I'll explain. So you can just soften your shoulders, lengthen the back of your neck a little bit, make sure you're comfy on the mat. Good. You're not going to go anywhere, Jordan, but you are going to generate some push now down through your hands and feet. Give that a try. Yeah, push the floor away. And when you do that, can you feel your muscles turn on? Yeah. Excellent. So we've got activation now without movement. Go ahead and relax. Now we're going to add this movement to the activation. So we still activate first. We still press through the hands, feet, and shoulders, activate, and then use that muscle now that you've turned on to lift your hips up into the air. Very good. Slowly roll down and don't lose your push. Nice.
I've never really felt anything with this workout. So I don't know where it's supposed to like do something.
Yes, I totally understand. I felt the same way for years. I was like, my hips were going up and down. And I was like, what's happening right now? Why am I doing this? So when you do just the push and you don't move, can you feel the muscle activation?
Yes.
Good. So what I want you to do is, I think right now you're doing the very logical thing of you're pushing and you're lifting. I want you to think that you're pushing, and because you've pushed so freaking hard, a little bit of lift happens. So really make the push do the thing. Make the push the thing that lifts your hips.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Try it a couple more times, and this is where a really funny thing kind of comes up, which is that I think we expect that as we work out more, exercises will get easier. And I find that's usually not the case. Most of the time when we start out, we're like, I can't feel anything. What's happening? I'm just flailing my body around. I'm just moving, like, sure, whatever. But then as you start to develop the muscle activation, your body starts to work. And then you're going to feel it. So I'm going to call it right now and say, in a month, this is going to make you sweat. Even if today you're kind of like, okay. I'm going to show you a couple other activation techniques for this too, because this is a particular one that is really challenging for a lot of people, myself included. Try going onto your heels with flexed feet. Yes. And what I want you to imagine, it's not going to happen, but as you start to lift your hips, go slow, think about dragging the heels in towards your shoulders. Great. Now, can you do that without arching your back?
Oh boy. Okay.
Now you may move 3 inches with this. You don't need to perform the lift for me. We're performing the work, not the choreography. Yes, Jordan. Ooh, okay. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Good. Try it a couple more times. Let's go ahead and we're gonna do one more thing with the abs, then we're gonna move on a little bit more into your spine. So you can bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself that little squeeze and go ahead and put your hands behind your head to give the neck a little support, and you can use that to lift the head up. Look at the belly button. Exactly. Curl up in those upper abs, up, nice and high. Eyes on the belly button is going to help your neck stay comfy. Heels together, toes apart. This is the same game we played earlier. Slowly press the legs away from you until you feel your abs.
I feel that.
Yeah, and then bring them back in. Just like that. So you can choose how far you want to go. You could try to go a little farther and see what happens. Or you could stay in these little beautiful small curled crunches. They look great. So the stronger you get here, the easier it will be and the farther your legs will be able to go, but there's no rush in that process. 2 more. Breathe. And 1 more. And then give your knees a hug and rest. Gorgeous. How was that?
Yeah.
It looked great. Did your back feel okay with all that?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So now go ahead and come up to sitting. And you'll have your legs in front of you in a small straddle.
What's that, like this?
It's gonna be like this guy. Straddle is like straight legs, but instead of them touching, they're just out a bit. And I'm actually gonna have you do this shape, but turn towards your door so I can see your spine. Lovely. Okay. So if I ask you to really lift your posture and sit up super straight here, easy, medium, or hard?
It's hard. I cannot sit up straight without bending my knees a lot.
Yeah, you're not alone. So what I like to do here is get something to sit up on. Do you have like a pillow, a yoga block, a big book? Excellent. So go ahead and turn that just to the flat direction and have a seat on top of it, just like that. And then try the same thing and see if it feels any better. Yeah?
Yes.
Cool. So you could use this or something honestly even taller. We're gonna explore this a little bit to prove a point. Go ahead and hop off of that. And I see you have a little bench behind you. Go sit on that bench facing me. Perfect. And then have your legs out in that same position and probably no problem here. Yeah. Fantastic. So I like this a lot for your body. We'll stay here for today. Your arms can reach out straight in front of you like a zombie. Good. You're going to exhale and just gently round your spine forwards to get a little space between your vertebrae. Lean a little more forward than you think. That's good. And then let your abs pick you back up and sit tall again. Nice. How's that feel for your back? Let's go again. A little round. Let those abs scoop. So anytime you can keep this going, that you're doing a yoga class where they ask you to, do that legs extended position or whatever, don't be afraid to sit up on a block or even to sit up on something this tall. It's really just so much gentler on the body and you're going to get all the same benefits. This is always where we get near the end of the session. I'm like, so many things we could do. So let's for now come to an all fours position. Great. And just find a nice long spine for me. Take a couple breaths here. It looks good. So we're just going to do a little feel good movement here. This is another midday work hack that you can do if you have to sit a lot. Keep your body nice and long like this. Keep the abs firm. Move the booty back a few inches towards the heels. And then bump it to the right. Move forwards towards your hands. And then bump it to the left. So you can see the pattern. We're making like a big circle here. Just moving through. And once you know the choreography, you can kind of go at your own pace. Some people like to go really slow and massagey, and other people kind of like to flow through it. Whatever you want is fine with me. And how's that feel for you, Jordan?
It doesn't really feel like it's doing anything, but it feels nice on my back.
Perfect. That is the correct response for this. This is a lot like when we lay on your stomach at the beginning. This is like not what you would traditionally consider an exercise in the, ooh, I'm feeling the burn way. This is that feels good, almost like a moving massage kind of way. It's a big part of our work together. I think there's a lot of, I don't even want to call it misinformation because I don't think it's ill-intentioned. It's just really hard when you're working on your own or working in a group class or working with a video to parse out how things should feel. Like, I'm not feeling this. Is that okay? I'm really feeling this. Is that okay? And the fact that we can have an exchange about it and be like, oh yeah, you shouldn't really feel anything super intense here. If you did, there would be something wrong. Or, oh no, you should really feel this. Let's talk about why you don't and help you feel it in a better way. I think that's such a big part of what we do, because then you can take it into everything else you do and you have those expectations and you know your baseline, which is the most important. And then you can go ahead and find a child's pose. Great. And in general, Jordan, would you say child's pose is comfortable for your body?
Kind of. It hurts my shoulders to stretch like this sometimes.
Mm-hmm. There's a little hack here that I think might be perfect for you. Let's try it. Make your hands into a little diamond shape. You can peek at me if you need to see what I mean. Yeah, that's exactly right. And then bend those elbows even a little more. Yeah. And is that better or worse, the same?
1,000 times better.
Good. This should make your upper back go, ah, and just release. Okay, when you're ready, come back to all fours and crawl just a little bit forward on your mat. Do you ever do planks, like push-up planks?
Oh, no. Yeah.
How do they feel?
Not terrible, but not fun.
So we're not going to do those right away, but we'll probably end with one and we'll go over the form when we get there. But for now, you have a little feel good stretch moment. You're going to tuck your toes under on your right leg and extend that leg back behind you. Perfect. You're going to keep your abs firm and you're just going to rock back into that heel and then press forward. And it should give you a good calf stretch. How's that?
Yeah, I feel it.
Excellent. Remember, you can be gentle with yourself. The body can't actually relax and release into the stretch if it's too intense. Your body will be too like, oh, I don't know. It won't allow the system to let go. One more. And then you can switch sides. Just that little rock, going for that 4 or 5 out of 10, calf, Achilles. Good, one more. And that's it for today. You're all done. You survived. Ta-da! Good job. How do you feel?
I feel awake. I'm not like super fatigued, which is really nice, but I do feel like my shoulders feel really good.
Hey, it's Hannah Ray. Thank you so much for watching. I had an amazing time with Jordan, and it was such an honor to get to share the start of her journey with you. I hope that you found some tips and tricks that you can apply to your own workouts, and let me know in the comments anything that was particularly helpful to you or anything that you want to make sure I include in the next session, since this one was edited down for clarity. If you want to book your own custom movement assessment with me, you can find me at hannaraytraining.com. I've linked that in the description down below. See you soon. Bye.